I found, and this was a realization that didn't come to me all at once. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It was more of a slow down, a series of stumbles and falls, and little quiet moments of clarity in the aftermath. I found that nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean nothing of substance, nothing that leaves a mark, nothing that makes your soul feel like it's been used for its intended purpose. Nothing in life is worthwhile, is truly, deeply, profoundly worthwhile unless you take risks. It's the price of admission. It's the toll you pay to cross that bridge from a life of watching to a life of living. Unless you take risks, and I mean real risks, not the calculated, spreadsheet-friendly risks, but the heart in your throat, knees knocking, what am I doing kind of risks, the ones that scare you, the ones that keep you up at night, not with anxiety, but with a kind of thrilling, terrifying anticipation. Nothing. It's a powerful word, isn't it? Nothing. I let that hang in the air for a second because I wanted to sink in. I wanted to feel the weight of it. Because we spend so much of our lives trying to secure things, to build safety nets, to create a world for ourselves where the word nothing doesn't apply. We want something to hold on to, something to rely on. But I'm talking about the raw, essential core of it, the foundation. And at that foundation, without risk, you have nothing. And this isn't just some thought I had in the shower one morning. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants when I say this. I am echoing a truth that has been spoken by voices far wiser and more experienced than my own. Nelson Mandela, a man who knew a thing or two about risk, a man who gambled his entire life, his very freedom, on a principle. He said it perfectly. He said, and I remember reading this for the first time, and it hit me in the chest. He said, there is no passion to be found playing small and in settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Let's just sit with that for a minute. No passion to be found playing small. Isn't that the truth? Think about it. Think about a time you were truly electrifyingly passionate about something. A person, a project, an idea. Were you playing it safe? Were you holding back? Were you calculating the odds and making sure you had an exit strategy? No, of course not. Passion, by its very nature, is reckless. It's all-consuming. It makes you forget to be small. It demands that you be large, that you take up space, that you shout your presence from the rooftops, and settling for a life that's less, that's the slow death. That's the quiet compromise that you make with yourself every morning when you ignore that little voice in your head that says, there has to be more than this. Mandela wasn't just offering a nice quote for a motivational poster, he was issuing a warning against the soul-crushing act of settling. Now I'm sure in your experiences, and I've been watching you, I've been thinking about the path that led you to this very moment, this crossroads, in your experiences in school, late nights with textbooks cracked open, the glare of a laptop screen in a dark dorm room, the pressure of exams that felt like they held your entire future in their hands, and applying to college, the endless forms, the personal essays where you tried to condense your entire young life into 500 words, the agonizing wait for the mail, the thrill of the thick envelope, the sting of the thin one. And picking your major, that monumental decision that was supposed to chart the course of the rest of your life. What do you want to be? The question hangs over you like a cloud. And deciding what you want to do with your life, not just for a job, but with your life, the legacy you want to leave, the difference you want to make, the person you want to become. I'm sure throughout all of that, people have told you, well-meaning people, people who love you, people who only want the best for you, they've told you, make sure you have something to fall back on. It's practically a mantra. It's the universal go-to piece of advice from parents, from aunts and uncles, from family friends at a barbecue. They put a hand on your shoulder, they look you in the eye with all the seriousness they can muster, and they say, now, listen, chase your dreams, sure, but make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. Something stable, something secure. But I never understood that concept. I never could wrap my head around it. Having something to fall back on. The very phrasing of it has always felt defeatist to me. It feels like you're planning for your own failure before you even begun. You're packing a parachute for a walk in the park. You're so focused on the landing that you forget the joy of the flight. The imagery it conjures, it's an image of retreat, of backpedaling, of looking behind you for a safety net instead of looking forward at the horizon. Let me tell you what my philosophy is. It's simple. If I'm going to fall, and let's be clear, you are going to fall. I'm not here to tell you you won't. You will fall. You will trip. You will skin your knees and bruise your ego. But if I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I don't want my trajectory to be backward, toward a past version of myself, toward a plan B, toward a consolation prize. No. I want to fall forward. I want my momentum, even in failure, to be pointed in the direction of my dreams. I want to be moving toward something, not away from something. If I'm falling, I at least want to be falling in the right direction. I figure at least this way, if I fall forward, I'll see what I'm going to hit. There's a clarity in that. There is a brutal, honest confrontation. You're not failing in the dark. You're not stumbling backward into an unknown abyss. You're falling with your eyes wide open, watching the obstacle, the wall, the challenge come right at you. And in that moment, even as you're falling, you're learning, you're gathering data. You say to yourself as the ground rushes up to meet you, so that's what was in my way. So that's what I need to be stronger than, smarter than, better than next time. Falling forward turns failure from a catastrophe into a reconnaissance mission. But, and this is a big but, falling forward once doesn't mean a thing, it's a gesture, a single data point. The magic, the real transformation doesn't happen in the fall. It happens in what you do after. It happens in the getting back up. And the getting back up again and again, that has a name. It's called consistency. It's called grit. It's called stick to it evenness, as my grandmother used to say. Without that, without consistency, you'll never finish. You'll never see the end of the race. You'll be all starting gun and no finish line. You'll be a person of 1,000 beginnings and 0 endings. A beautiful, brilliant flash in the pan, and then darkness. So the first part of the equation is this: do what you feel passionate about. And I'm not just saying the words, I want you to feel that, passionate about. What makes your heart beat faster? What subject can you talk about for hours without getting bored? What problem makes you angry, makes you frustrated, makes you say, someone has to fix this, why hasn't anyone fixed this? That anger, that frustration, that's passion in its raw form. Find that, grab onto it with both hands and don't let go. That's your fuel. That's the engine that will keep you going when the wheels fall off. And to fuel that engine, you have to take chances. You have to be willing to step into the unknown. And the biggest chance, the one that frightens everyone, is the chance of failure. So I'm here to tell you, don't be afraid to fail. Now, I know you've heard that before. It's easy to say, it's a lot harder to live. But let me give you a little puzzle, a metaphor that might stick with you. There's an old IQ test. It was this grid of 9 dots, 3 rows, 3 columns, just 9 innocent little dots on a page. And the instruction was, you had to draw 5 straight lines with a pencil connecting all 9 dots without lifting the pencil from the paper. 5 lines. 9 dots, no lifting the pencil. I remember staring at that thing. I must have been a kid, and I tried everything. I started inside the box, connecting dot to dot to dot, trying to be efficient, trying to be clever, but it was impossible. You'd always have 1 dot left over, 1 line too many. I got so frustrated, I thought the test was broken. I thought it was a trick, and then someone showed me the solution. And it was a revelation. The only way to do it, the only way was to extend your lines far, far beyond the boundaries of the 9 dots. You had to go way outside the box. You had to let your lines travel into the empty, white, uncharted space of the page. The solution existed only when you were willing to break the invisible boundary that the dots themselves had created in your mind. That's it. That's the whole lesson right there. Don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. The rules you think are there a lot of the time, they're just suggestions. They're just the way things have been done before. They are the 9 dots. Your imagination, your ambition, your passion, that's the vast, empty, beautiful white space on the page. That's where the solution lives. So don't be afraid to fail. And don't just be unafraid of little failures, of polite, manageable setbacks. No, don't be afraid to fail big. If you're going to fail, you might as well fail spectacularly. Fail in a way that makes people's heads turn. Fail in a way that creates a crater. Because a big failure means you were attempting something big. It means you were dreaming big. And you have to dream big. You have to. And this is the most important pivot in this whole talk. But remember this. Remember this like your life depends on it. Because your fulfillment does. Dreams without goals are just dreams. They're fantasies. They're the stories you tell yourself to fall asleep at night. They're ethereal, weightless, and ultimately useless. A dream is a destination. I want to stand on that mountain. A goal is the map. To get to that mountain, I need to walk this path, cross this river, and climb this ridge. A dream without goals is a picture of a mountain on your wall. A dream with goals is a worn-out pair of boots and a walking stick. One is decoration, the other is a journey. Let me give you a real-world example, a baseball example. Reggie Jackson. They called him Mr. October for a reason. He was a legend in the postseason. He hit home runs when it mattered most. People remember the glory. They remember the swing, the crack of the bat, the ball sailing into the night. But you know what they don't remember? They don't talk about this part. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career. Say that number again. 2,600 times. That's the absolute most in the history of baseball. The man failed at the plate more than anyone else ever has. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. Why? Because people remember the home runs. The home runs were the dreams realized. But every single one of those 2,600 strikeouts, that was a goal. That was him stepping up to the plate again and again with the goal of hitting the ball. He failed at that goal 2,600 times. But he kept stepping up. And because he kept stepping up, he also occasionally achieved the dream. The failure was the constant, necessary work of pursuing the goal. The home runs were the reward for all that failure. Fall forward. That's what Reggie Jackson did every time he swung and missed. He was falling forward toward the next at-bat, toward the next opportunity to hit a home run. And it's not just in sports. It's in science. It's in invention. Thomas Edison, we all know the story, or we think we do. The light bulb, a symbol of a brilliant idea. But what was the process like? Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. 1,000. Can you imagine? Experiment number 347, failure. Experiment number 622, failure. Experiment number 999, failure. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. We don't study the 1,000 failures in school. We study the one success. But the success is meaningless without the failures that preceded it. He was falling forward. 1,000 times he fell. But each time he fell forward, landing little closer to the answer. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. It's not a setback, it's a step, it's data, it's elimination. You've simply discovered one more way that doesn't work, which means you're that much closer to finding the way that does. So you got to take risks. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. It's almost a cliche at graduations. The speaker gets up and says, "Take risks." And everyone applauds and then goes and updates their LinkedIn profile. But I want to talk to you about why that's so important. I want to get into the gritty, uncomfortable, necessary truth of it. The reason it's so important is because failure is not a possibility. It's not an if, it is a certainty, it is a when. You will fail at some point in your life. Let me just be brutally honest with you. You will fail. You will lose. A game, a job, a person you love, you will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will say the wrong thing in a meeting. You will send that email to the wrong person. You will trip on a perfectly flat sidewalk in front of a crowd of people. You will suck at something. There is no doubt about it. You will try something new and you will be terrible at it. Comically, painfully terrible. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony. This is supposed to be a celebration. You've succeeded, you made it, you're wearing the cap and gown. You should be hearing about blue skies and limitless horizons. But hey, I'm telling you, I'm begging you, embrace it. Embrace the failure. Embrace the embarrassment. Embrace sucking at something. Because it's inevitable. And the sooner you make peace with that fact, the sooner you take its power away, the sooner you can get on with the glorious, messy, unpredictable business of living a life that matters. In my business, in the acting business, you fail all the time. It's baked into the job description. For every role you get, there are dozens, hundreds you don't get. You fail more often than you succeed. It's a numbers game. Early on in my career, early when I was green, when I was hungry, when every audition felt like my one and only shot at the entire universe, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. It was a perfect role for me, I thought. It fit me like a glove. The character, his background, his spirit, it was all right there. I could feel it. I could taste it. except for one tiny little not so insignificant detail, except for the fact that I can't sing. I can sing in the shower. I can sing along to the radio in my car when nobody's listening. But can I sing for real on a Broadway stage with a live orchestra and a paying audience? No, I cannot. So I didn't get the job. Shocker, right? It was a rejection. A flat out, straightforward, thank you, next kind of failure. But here's the thing, the important part. The part that defines what happened next. I didn't quit. Let me be clear about that. The thought certainly crossed my mind. Maybe this is a sign. I thought, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should just, go back to school, learn a trade, do something that doesn't involve pouring your heart out for strangers only to have them say no thank you. But I didn't. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I didn't go and rely on that mythical something to fall back on. No, I walked out of that theater. And the air outside didn't feel like an ending. It felt like an intermission. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition after that, and the next one after that. It was the only way I knew how to move forward. And I prayed. Oh man, did I pray? I prayed for strength. I prayed for opportunity. I prayed for just one break, just one person to see something in me that I saw in myself. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. But here's the funny thing about prayer. It's not a vending machine. You don't put your prayer in and get a candy bar out. Sometimes the answer is silence. Sometimes the answer is not yet. And so I continued to fail and fail and fail, audition after audition. No, not right for the part. We're going in a different direction. It was a symphony of rejection. But it didn't matter. You know what? It didn't matter. Because in the grand scheme of things, each no was just a piece of data. It was just a step. It was me falling forward. Because you know what? There's an old saying. It's a bit of street wisdom. You hang around the barber shop long enough, sooner or later, you're gonna get a haircut. You just have to outlast the rejection. You have to be present. You have to be persistent. You have to keep showing up, even when you're not wanted, even when you feel invisible. If you keep hanging around the opportunity, if you keep putting yourself in the path of a potential break, it will come. It has to. So you will catch a break. The universe or God or chance or whatever you believe in, it will eventually tilt in your favor. But you have to be there to see it. You have to be standing at the plate when the pitch finally comes over the heart of the plate. And I did catch a break. It took time. It took more failures than I can count. But it happened. Last year, it feels like both a lifetime ago and just yesterday. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway, August Wilson's masterpiece. A powerful, gut-wrenching, beautiful play. It was one of the most fulfilling experiences of my professional life. To be on that stage night after night telling that story, it was a privilege. But here's the kicker, the part that still gives me chills. It was at the Court Theatre, a beautiful historic theatre on Broadway. And it was at the very same theatre, the same walls, the same stage, the same ghosts. It was at the same theatre that I failed that first audition, that musical audition I told you about 30 years prior. 30 years. Think about that. A lifetime. The young man who walked out of that theatre dejected, wondering if his dream was over, and the man who walked back in 3 decades later to help lead a production. The point isn't just that I succeeded. The point is the journey. The point is that the failure was not an end point. It was a coordinate on a very long, very winding map. The point is, every single graduate here today, look to your left, look to your right, look inside your own heart. Every one of you has the training. You spent years in classrooms, in libraries, in labs, acquiring knowledge. You have the talent. You have a unique gift, a specific way of seeing the world and interacting with it that nobody else has. You have the training and the talent to succeed. That's not in question. But do you have the guts to fail? Do you have the stomach for it? The courage? The sheer, stubborn, bloody-minded will to get rejected, to be told no, to fall flat on your face, and to get back up and say, okay, what's next? If you don't fail, if you're not failing, you're not even trying. You're playing it safe. You're staying within the 9 dots. You're settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. I'll say it again because it might have been uncomfortable the first time. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. You're just existing. To get something you never had, that dream, that life, that impact, you have to do something you never did. You have to take an action you've never taken. You have to step into the unknown. You have to risk the fall. Let me ask you to do something difficult. Let me ask you to project yourself forward to the very end of the road. I want you to imagine you're on your deathbed. The room is quiet, the light is low, you've lived a long life, and standing around your deathbed, and they're not angels and they're not demons, they are the ghosts. The ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential, the ghost of the business you never started, the ghost of the book you never wrote, the ghost of the apology you never offered, the ghost of the love you never expressed, the ghost of the trip you never took, the degree you never finished, the person you never stood up for, the ghost of the ideas you never acted on. They came to you as a whisper, a spark, a what if, and you ignored them. You were too busy, too scared, too practical. The ghost of the talents you didn't use, that knack for painting you let rust, that musical ear you never trained, that compassion you were too shy to share, and they're standing around your bed and they're not peaceful, they're angry, they're disappointed, they're upset. They came to you full of life and possibility, and you left them on the shelf. You kept them in the box, and they say to you, their voices a chorus of regret, we came to you because you could have brought us to life. You had the hands, you had the heart, you had the time. You could have made us real. And they say, the final crushing blow. And now we have to go to the grave together. Your potential, your unlived life buried with you. So I ask you today, with all the urgency and love I can muster, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? How many companions of regret will you